Hello everyone and welcome to this new moon forecast. This new moon is in Aquarius, 23 degrees, same degree of bottle 23 in which in the Aura-Soma system corresponds to angel, archangel Ariel. We are really going through a big shift, a big transformation, and then this new moon is going to really support that process. Bear in mind that we are in February. The word February comes from Latin februare, which means purification. So it's a month, in the ancient time, it used to be a month of purification, of leaving behind what is not needed in order to move into the new. And 23, from the energetical point of view, the degree of this lunation, really means taking responsibility for who we truly are, leaving the past behind, that sense of not being good enough, that sense of not being able to do things, and starting, loving ourselves the way we are, instead of really looking for others really to appreciate and who we are. It's an energy, strong energy at this point in time. Also because in March, on the 20th of March, we are going to have here in Italy, we're going to have spring equinox on the 20th of March. March used to be in the ancient time a very important time because it was the beginning of the new year. In Rome, it used to be considered the beginning, and March is also associated to Mars. The name comes from Mars, who was the god of fertility, the god of also, but in a sense of moving, of youth, pushing, supporting the new energy, the new sprouts that were coming up in order to allow the new into our lives. But before that, we really need to go through a process of purification, which means actually making things clear, making things pure, crystalline, really making everything really pure, which means nothing can prevent us from seeing things clearly. So the energy of this lunation, the new moon will be in Aquarius at 23 degrees, as I said. This is actually the second new moon of the year. The third one, we are going to have it on the 13th of March, the last one. The last moon at 23 degrees is the energy of that supports that process of transformation and purification. And especially in this astrological chart of this lunation, the main character, the planet asteroid in reality, a celestial body, which is going to be the focal center, the focus point of this lunation, is going to be Vesta, the goddess of the sacred flame, the goddess of home, the goddess of the energy, which what it means is actually Vesta means that she's supporting, she's going to help us stop that process of evolution in order to go inward and nurture and support, let's say feed that inner fire, what we really need to go through in order to allow that transformation to happen. February comes from fever, purification, and when we have a fever, we burn out everything that is no longer needed, burn everything that is not necessary in order to allow, to see things clearly. The fire has to burn within the inner temple, which is, in this case, our own body. And this concept of purification and transformation is also related to the day of this lunation. This lunation is going to occur on the 11th of February. And in the Aura-Soma system, number 11 relates to the 11th bottle, the Essene bottle, and which means, is related to the tarot card, the strength, but also the word I love myself the way I am, but mainly in this case relates really to the purification process associated to the Essene. You know, the Essene where a group of people, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Anne, the aunt of Jesus, belong to the Essenes, and then only thanks to their work a pure soul could come through Jesus. So the Essene had the main theme of the scene was the fact that they really wanted to purify themselves, and in order to purify themselves, what they were doing is to offer everything, dedicate everything they were doing to an angel, which means simply that, you know, even when they were angry, even when they were upset, even they were looking at their body, they were offering everything they were doing to an angel. And you know, think about offering your anger to an angel. Do you think the angel is going to deliver anger? Absolutely not. It's going to transform that energy so it can support, uplift your level, the level of your consciousness, but also mainly the level of our flesh. So this 11 energy really it's a doorway, the possibility to uplift our level of consciousness if we truly choose to focus on that and purify. And you know, that 11 also means two wheels, because in relation to the 7 rays, you know, number 1 is the ray of will of power. So when we have 2 wheels, it means that we are facing ourselves. And then how do we face ourselves? Through relationships. Relationships are the way through which we can see the reflection of our own belief system, of our ideas, and then what they trigger in us, what they create in us, and they reflect back to us is actually symbolic, you know, of what we really need to work towards. Is not what happens that is really the key, but actually how we feel. The way we feel is the reflection of what has created that situation in our life. So it's really a process of huge, big transformation. We are offering that process, you know, especially now in February, because we need to go through that process. And I think about the middle point of February is Valentine's Day, which is the feast, the celebration of the lovers, which actually, you know, your lover is always a reflection of yourself, because it offers you a possibility to grow, a possibility to see something about yourself that you have never seen before. You have never seen before. The 2 also of the month talks about that duality, inner duality, that inner conflict about between what we think and what we feel. That constantly an inner conflict. And 11 is a 2, and the month is a 2, which is a 22. Which from the esoteric point of view is really the master builder, the possibility of building new foundation, the seed of the new human being. But from the challenging point of view means actually that we're really struggling on our emotional level in relation to what we truly love, who we truly are. The emotional stuff is actually what triggers and what makes us feel really tested, you know, what really tests us. The goddess Vesta really, which is the key, the pivotal point of this chart, because I can show you, she is actually holding with their position in the chart at this point in time. She's at 19 degrees 57 minutes Virgo. She's actually creating a yod and a boomerang with Neptune. But not only that, she's also creating, you know, triggering a grand square with the nodes, the lunar nodes and Neptune. And at the same time, she's creating also a big grand trine, Earth grand trine with Mars and then Pluto, and also a kite, including also Neptune. So she's the main focal point of this lunation. Vesta is really regarding what do you love, what do you truly love, what you are focusing your energy on, because She's the goddess of the inner flame, helping us nurture the inner flame of the true self, the light of the soul, within the temple of the body. And Virgo, the sign, the star sign she's in at this point in time, is really not going beyond the senses, the five senses, to see the truth hidden behind it. 2021, we said it many times, is 23 energy, and 23 is about uplifting our mind. 23-5 is a process of change, leaving behind that sense of unworthiness, having done things wrong in a wrong way all the time, in order to move, go to a process of endings, because the total addition of the date of birth, the date of the lunation is a 9, which is an ending or a new beginning, and is asking us. Bottom 9 in Aura-Soma system is really it's called the heart within the heart. It's not really remaining in the pain, just in the pain of the heart, but the key is to assist us in going, looking at the back of the heart, where we have really another room where our soul sits, and the total addition is an 18-9, which is the destruction of all our thinking, emotional stuff, behavioral stuff that we no longer need, in order to find our inner authority, not the authority of who we think we are, but the authority of who we truly are. And 18 is also the number of sainthood. So sainthood, the concept is really saints uplifted their physicality to a new level. And this is really the energy. 11 and 2 is 13, which is in the Aura-Soma system, is about focusing the light on the heart, the green energy, but also is giving up any solution to something higher than us, in order to allow the process of change. The Sabian symbol, I was mentioning to you that we are, this lunation it's happening at 23 degrees Aquarius, and then 23:16 Aquarius. So the Sabian symbol associated to that is a man having overcome his passion, teaches deep wisdom in terms of his experience, which actually is symbolic of the fact that we are really striving to overcome our passion, which means what we think we love, and we need to take a step in evolution and that our step will help us become a sort of an example for others. We really need to follow our inspiration in order really to, because the 23:16 is a 57, work for, follow that inspiration within the self. 23:16, 51, which is 51 is a 6, the death of the old and the birth of the new, and the total addition is a 34, which is a spiritual, constant spiritual growth. 34:7, let go of your fear and then trust. When we move into something new, we may experience fear, but 7, the number of fusion, tells us that we need really to have the courage to step, leave behind what appears to be logical, and choose by focusing on the energy within. The characteristic of this lunation, we have a huge stellium. A stellium is an astrological aspect in which we have 5 planets all close to each other. Really they call conjunct. So what it means, they're holding their hands and they're walking together, so their power, their strength becomes really, really high. In this lunation, we're going to have the new moon, the sun, we have Palasatina, we have Eckhart, we have Mercury, we have Venus, we have Jupiter, and then Saturn in Aquarius, all one next to the other. So when we have that sort of an energy, it means that the stellium brings a revolution, an innovation, an awakening experience. and also the possibility of seeing oneself into another. So as I was explaining before, the possibility of looking at what through someone else, at what really does not allow us to really be who we truly are. So it's a supercharged field of energy which has the purpose of helping us shift to a new levels. What do we choose to focus on? Because Aquarius, energetically, from the soul point of view, represents the ocean of life. Is the symbol of desire, and then also the impulse to incarnate, in which the impulse to incarnate are transmuted into soul light, light substance, the urge to thread consciously the path of return, and the longing to serve. So, but when we're talking about serving, we're talking about serving our highest purpose. The sun really here is lessening its power in Aquarius, because it's the opposite to Aquarius is opposite to Leo, and every time we have a planet or a celestial body in this case, opposite to the sign in which we have the ruler. The sun is the ruler of Leo, so Aquarius is its opposite. We really have, that energy, in a way dimming down a little bit, because here is the personality that has to give up. The personality has to give up the old way of looking at things, change completely, go through a process of really deep transformation, and instead of feeling depressed or going through a process of self-depreciation, we really need to focus on the soul energy and allow that energy to be our guide. Because the rulers of Aquarius, we know one of the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which is the revolutionary, but the highest ruler, the esoteric ruler of Aquarius, are Jupiter and the moon. So it is really about connecting the heart and the mind, Jupiter, and then allow the moon to purify itself and reflect the energy coming from something high, being impressed by something high. So from the intellectual perception, we need to move, we're going to move into the intuitive knowledge. Bear in mind that Aquarius rules the blood, the circulation of the blood, and then the blood sustains the system. So the Vesta, is really asking us, what are you supporting yourself with? Which is the fire that burns within you that supports you? Is it your old desire, old way of looking at things, or it is your really spiritual inner self, the purity of who you truly are? Vesta is an asteroid. And then it's an asteroid discovered in the 29th of March in 1807. Normally it takes 1,325 years to complete its go back, to go around the sun. And so what it means that it spends about 363 years into a star sign. At this point in time is a 19 degrees 15 minutes Virgo. The Sabian symbol of this degree is the totalization of purpose and effort. So she's asking, this asteroid, this goddess, is really triggering within us the possibility of totally focus on a purpose, and therefore also our effort, because only if we do that, we can really lead us to a new world, which means to a new level of being. Vesta is the sister, in the ancient mythology, is the sister of Jupiter. And then Vesta, the word Vesta means either standing by power or burning fire. It's really the earth, the possibility, her work is to help us move from the solar plexus to the heart. It's in between Mars and Jupiter, which Mars is really symbolic of, is the ruler of Aries, and Aries rules the head. So what we think, our mind stuff, and Jupiter is connecting the mind and the heart. So at this point, Mars is in Taurus, at 18 degrees Taurus. So talks about this purification. Mars, the symbol of Mars is the birth canal. Mars is the birth canal. And he's asking us to really purify. 18 degrees is about exactly the same number ruling the day of this lunation, which is that process of destroying everything we no longer need, burning all that, in order to become the aspiration. So from desire, the desire of the mind, the senses, because Vesta is asking to focus inward, away from distraction. So cleansing all the senses. Work on ray 6, which is related to Mars. What you desire, in order to really move into transform it on a higher level of desire, which is the Neptunian level. Neptune is a higher level of Venus, which is really what you truly love on the highest level, in order really to purify our senses and lead us to a new level of consciousness. Mars is in Taurus conjunct to Lilith, the black moon. We normally think in traditional astrology, they say Lilith is very challenging energy. Actually, in esoteric astrology, is not like that, because what Lilith says is everything you need is already within your grasp. Focus on that and focus on what your attention needs to be, which is what your inner fire, because you need to prepare for the future. So whatever happens, you really to being open to new possibility, go beyond the self-protection, the old way of being, because if you really love Saturn, there is the possibility of the new man, the global man, to emerge from the old. And you can set yourself free from the ancient way of being, the ancient values, the ancient ideas. So we need to become aware that the old cycle is going to really come to an end, and then accept that process, that transformational process that this lunation is triggering. The other thing is that it's very important for us to become aware. We are part of something. Juno is telling us, it's another asteroid, that we are participating to a process of rebirth, which is not only personal, it's collective. And then in order to go through it, we really need to concentrate on maintaining our independence. We need to really go within, which is a process of insulation. Keep focusing on your inner light, on your inner energy. And Vesta is exactly that. The meridian associated to Aquarius is the spleen meridian, also called the pancreas meridian. And the pancreas meridian, which is really related to our consciousness of potential, it stores the G energy. So it's asking us to have a stable home environment. And for ourselves, the stable home environment is the temple of our body. The spleen meridian harmonizes the upper and the lower parts of the body. So every time we worry, every time we overthink, we close, the consequence is we may have a spleen depletion. Because the spleen meridian relates to the immune system, the body immune system, and it helps us recognize all the foreign invaders, we really need to remove, it removes the old cells. So focus on the inner fire and then support that process of purification. As I said, February means purification, in order to go into the new energy, the new vision. Aquarius is bringing the new vision, the new energy that helps us go beyond. And we won't go beyond until the end of this cycle. We are really asked to let go of our if the spleen doesn't work properly, we experience exhaustion, we over worry, chronic fatigue, we feel stress, muscle weakness, we have abdominal bloating, we have the tendency to overeat, having regular meals, our sleep is going to be disturbed, our complexion is going to be quite pale, and nightmares, really mental exhaustion. While when we really work properly, support, we are really have self-love, self-worth, cleansing, purification, clarity, integrity. So, and we have a lot of new ideas. So we are asked to isolate from the world, from whatever happens, and hold the inner flame. I always say to my students, bear in mind, remember the love that you are, the love that you always carried within yourself since the moment you were born. And we protected that love, but it's time for that love to be your inner fire, to become the inner fire, and allow that love to guide you. From the physical point of view, Aquarius is associated to the ankles. Ankles offer us the flexibility and the extent of the foot, and also offer us the possibility to choose the direction in which we want to go. Instead of going in the usual direction, stop, go within, find your inner fire, meditate on your inner fire, and allow that inner fire to be your new guidance, your new guide, the new guidance for the new life. Everything, go back to yourself. Go back to yourself, no matter what. Focus that inner guidance, and that it will, that light, that inner fire will lighten. Will shine light on your path, and your ankles. Just will only have to turn your feet in that direction. Wishing you a wonderful new moon in Aquarius. And the other thing I would like to share with you, we have started teaching courses in English, and we are going to run some in the next few months. So should you be interested in knowing our calendar, you can write directly to our office, secretary@internationalcescschool.com. And also, you can also look at our website. Our website comes out in Italian, but you have the possibility to choose English. So internationalinitiationschool.com. So thank you very much for listening, and wishing you a wonderful new moon. May your inner flame be nurtured by this new nation, and may be your highest guide. Have a lovely new moon. Bye bye.